Greetings and welcome to our Lab 3 demonstration. I'm going to show two different approaches to the lab. Both have positive and not so positive aspects, but they both fulfill most of the requirements. Remember, in our third lab here, we're creating a dynamic application that not only stores data in text files, but makes backups along the way. And all of the manipulation and display on the pages themselves, of course, are with arrays. So let me begin here with Rufus's lab. And you can see that there are quite a few files that are needed here, primarily all PHP files, of course. Um, does have a backups directory as directed, does have a default tunes.txt file as directed, and then Rufus has gone and made some others here, has an include for his navigation, and so on. So our main page is going to be our class ID lab3.php. So let me click that. And here's Rufus's PHP tunes. Now notice that the tunes.txt file, which everybody needs a default tunes.txt, and please name that as noted in the assignment, and it's an indexed array. Although we see our favorite songs is 1, 2, 3, 4, not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's something to remember. And then we have uh, all the various functionalities on the page here, as well as, of course, a time date stamp and copyright. And these are good candidates, of course, for an include file, as well as the class navigation itself that I talk about. Class ID navigation itself is also a good candidate for an include. But so we have display songs, and this is always going to pull up the main lab here. Let's go ahead and just look at some simple ones. First here, of course, sort ascending, right? Okay, so we have songs in ascending order. Rufus has changed the message, and we're at sort ascending, and if it has done it in ascending order. If we do sort descending, it once again does it in descending order. Okay, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and add a song. Now Rufus has taken the effect where asking at what spot would I like to add it. It's a little tough to remember, and this is a display that I would say needs some work here because we have to pick a spot, right? It doesn't really say how that spot will work. Now remember in the assignment we talk about that there's backups being made all the time, right? And I'll show you that in a second here. And at this add here, we can add one or more songs. Now, Rufus has decided just to allow one song, but has given us the option of where we want to put it on the list. And so Rufus hasn't allowed more than one song to be added. So that's a little bit limiting, but does allow us to add it somewhere in the list. Okay. And to be honest, even if you find that too difficult, remember there are many functions here at work here. We can at least make sure we can add a song. Okay, that's bottom line. At least make sure you can add a song. So let me come back here. Let's say I want to add it at the third spot. And what song do I want to add? Let's say Call Me Maybe. Okay, because that's all our favorite song. We submit it. Okay, and it does go right back to the add. We're still at the add, and it does add it at 3. Call me maybe. Okay. Now note, it is just in a particular order. It's not sorted, right? We could still sort ascending, sort descending, right? But we were able to add a song, and we're at 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and remember one of our items for criteria for adding songs is 10 or fewer. We can't exceed 10. So I'm going to add some more, and I'm not going to come up with a bunch of names here. I'm just going to start calling them song 1. There it is at the first position. I'm going to add one at number 5 here. call it song 2. Okay, and then does right at number 5. So we're at 7 here. Then we add it at 6, do song 3. And we have 2 more to add here. Let's see. Let's add this one at 2. Call it song 4. Alright, so these are being added right where I've asked them to add. So we're at 9. And we look at this, we have, the new top 9 songs. And we can still sort ascending, sort descending. And as you notice when we start to sort, those come here. Okay. So let's add another one. And this is where it becomes difficult because we don't know exactly what order we're in right now, right? So that's a little bit of a downside to Rufus's application. So let's this, and I think whatever song we're at, let's say song A. Okay, so we now have 10 new top 10 songs. We can sort ascending, sort descending. Okay, let's not delete yet, but remember we're at 10 and we are not permitted to go more than 10. So let me go ahead and hit add song. Okay, now Rufus is going to say, okay, I'm going to let you add another song. Let's add song B. Okay. So what Rufus has done, which really, to be honest, is not the best approach, is really just taken a song off and allowed us to add song B, right? There has actually, there's still just 10. It would have been nice for a warning message for Rufus to stop us here, okay? But Rufus has not. So that's an issue, okay, with this app, because there should have been a warning, although they do keep it to 10, right? So it's sort of fulfilled the requirements there. Let's go to top songs. And Rufus says that we're allowed to pick top 3. Great, right? Top songs, let's say we want the top 6. Great. So Rufus gives us a way to allow the user to say how many of the top songs he or she wants. Now, remember, I have another footnote on this, right? If you can't figure out how to get that user input and use it for how many songs, just list the top 3 all the time, or top 5 to show that you can do that. Not as good, but it still has some functionality. Now, one of the items we haven't looked at yet is, let's go ahead and display all the songs again. And let's go to delete songs. And Rufus actually asks how many songs we want to delete and what song do we want to start deleting at. Once again, this would be nice for Rufus to show us a list. Alright, so let's go back here. Let's say I want to delete 2 songs, and I'm going to start at number 9. Okay? Just so we can know that. So I'm going to say 2 songs. I want to start at 9. Submit. And they are gone. Okay? Let's say I really decided I wanted to get rid of Call Me Maybe. Alright, so let me delete this. I want to just delete 1, and I want to start at 7. Let's see if that gets rid of it. And it does. Okay, so I can display my songs, sort ascending, sort descending. Be nice if there was display songs here, but that's okay, right? So we have this many. Perhaps Rufus could have put how many were up here as well too. Top songs, we did that, and that worked. Now the last thing is, all along the way we've been keeping backups with micro time, right? And I hope you've noticed the time has changed every time. It's 2043 20, 2043 36. So it is getting the information as we do it. Let's display backups, remember, and we created a backups folder, right? And we've been creating backups all along the way, just in case perhaps we deleted something we didn't want. So when I hit display backups, Rufus has done a wonderful display of all the backups that have happened. We see the byte size, we see permissions, the owner ID. That's always going to be 0 on WAMP. But notice we've used micro time to display this. So at any one of these, I can click and see, the simple text file that's been created, right? I can go through and look. And so I do have backups. So, text files aren't the best way to keep all this data. We'll talk later about databases in later chapters, but for now we're using the text file. Okay, so we've looked at Rufus's there, and let's go back and look at a different way to approach this with Xavier's. Now, Xavier, once again, Xavier has included many different files, PHP and whatnot. Has misspelled a little bit here, uh, but has more includes in this case. Does have the tunes.txt, does have the backups, and does have some of the same things: add, delete, display backups, sort ascending, sort descending that we've talked about. But the main file, of course, is going to be Lab3. Now, so Xavier's looks a little bit different. Okay, the first thing here is that Xavier's, even without anything in tunes.txt, already lists a song. So we have an issue here, and I want to point that out to be aware of that. So when we go to main page, um, we're already showing a blank area for favorite songs, and so that's a bit of an issue here. But let's go ahead, and the reason I want to show this one is Xavier allows us to add more than one song at a time, and this is a little bit cumbersome. This process, but Xavier has figured out a way to do it and said, hey, you can add up to 10 songs to your playlist. Please separate songs with semicolons. That's going to be a little bit, difficult for your average user, but we probably can understand why Xavier says, hey, use semicolons. They're going to use that to delineate between the songs. Could have said use pipes, right? It might have been nice to have separate fields here for each song title. But let's go ahead, and there is a little bit of a warning here of adding more than 10 songs will cause the last song on the list to be deleted. Right, so there's a little bit of a warning there. So let me go ahead. I'm not going to type a bunch of song names. I probably should have done this better. So I'm going to go ahead and type some here. Excuse me for the lag here. We'll now it doesn't tell us whether or not there should be a semicolon after the last one. That's maybe a little bit of an oversight, right? Because since we're giving the user so much power here, there's plenty of opportunity here for error. Okay, so this is a little unsettling here, but I'm gonna keep it like this because we'll put 5 songs and say add the list. Okay, now Xavier's taking a different approach. This says songs added. It'd been nice if we could see them, right, as soon as they're added. But let's go ahead and go back to main page. Now this is where Xavier's is a bit off. It's got a one-off error, right? So we got an empty song space here at 6, and I wanted to point that out on purpose. But it did take all 5, and we can sort ascending, we can sort descending, right? But there's always that little extra piece there, right? Let's see if we can delete that out. So let's say delete songs. It says choose the number of songs you want to remove from the list. Songs will be deleted from the end. Okay, so Xavier said, you know what, I am not going to allow you to choose where, so has limited that choice a little bit for the delete, but said, tell me how many and I'll take them from the bottom. So okay, that's okay. It's not as flexible as we might like that to be. But let's go ahead and let's say we want to get rid of 3 of them, right? Once again, we don't see the list, so we're not sure, so we delete. Let's look at the main page. But at least I was able to get rid of that empty song. So perhaps there was an error in the tunes.txt file, right? Let me go ahead and add a couple back here. Let's say song A, song B. This time I'm not going to put a semicolon after that one. Okay. I think we figured it out, right? By putting that semicolon the first time in the list, the way Xavier has it coded has allowed the user to actually have an empty an empty field there. So be very, very careful on how you allow users to enter information, um, and how you account for how that information is entered, that data is entered, right? Because if I put a semicolon at the end of all my songs, looks like Xavier somehow thought I meant there's another song there, when I didn't put a semicolon after my last ended song. Wasn't an issue. Okay, so let me go. We're at 5, so let me go ahead and add some more here. Uh, let's go ahead and what would spaces do? That would probably be another issue, right? But um, a beginning or ending spaces. Well, we know how to take care of that, perhaps. We'll see. Okay, well, we know that's going to cause a problem, so we'll stop that. So I've added 4 more. Okay. All right, so that seemed the spaces in the uh, within the semicolons didn't seem to be an issue, so Xavier's taking care of that. We're at 9. Okay. Notice once again, started at 1 and went through 9. Let me add one more song or see what happens here. Okay. So now we're at 10. I can still sort ascending, sort descending, and it's working. We haven't looked at top songs yet, so let me do that. Um, this Xavier does allow us to say, let's do the top 3. Okay. And we can see the top 3. Top 3 of what? Top 3 of how the original list is. If I sort descending, let me do sort descending. Song Z's at the top. Z and then B and then A. And let me say top songs. And let me get 3 here. Okay, so it's not ZBA. It's song 9Z, Call Me Maybe. So be very careful about what file you're using to read from. Out of the sort descending, should they change the actual 1 through 10 of the songs? Probably not, right? Because the users already figured that out as how they've added them. And just sort descending does it alphabetically, right? Um, it may look like it changes the ranking when it displays, but it actually doesn't. Okay? All right. So we know that. We're back at the main page. We're at 10. I'm going to add another song here. Song final. Okay. It says it's added. And there it is. But Xavier had warned us, right? Please be aware that adding more than 10 songs will cause the last song list to be deleted. It would be very nice, and both of these fall short in this aspect, to give the user a warning and say, I'm sorry, I can't add any more songs because you have 10. You must delete them first and allow them to choose what to delete. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so we do have that it stops at 10. Okay, let's once again show backups. We should look in the backups directory, and not sure why it thinks it's in Spanish, so I'm going to say don't translate that. And we do have a backup list. Now, Xavier has chosen, and that's probably a good idea, to keep our navigation right here intact, but we can, of course, look at the different songs um, that show up here. Oh, and there's the one that something might have happened there. There's nothing written in there, right? Okay. So anyhow, we do have our size permissions. Once again, owner ID is always going to be 0 on the WAMP. Okay, so that's a walkthrough of 2 very different, and we can go back to the main, it should be fine, 2 very different approaches. Both have some shortcomings, both have some strengths. This lab has many pieces to it. Take your time, do the best that you can, ask questions in class, build it in pieces, ask questions on the board, watch this video. Um, I hope this lab demonstration of the two, to be honest, two very different approaches to the lab was useful. Thank you, and I will see you in class.